Hey y'all, my name's Alfred Packer, but people usually know me as Colorado Cannibal. And I hate it. I didn't want to eat those people, but if y'all don't believe me, just listen to the true story of Alfred Packer, the Colorado Cannibal. So, I was just a 31-year-old American prospector, and then I got the word of the gold rush. I caught that gold fever. And I knew I had a chance to be rich. So I invited a couple of my friends and I to get that gold rush. Their names were Shannon Bell, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, George Janoon, and Israel Swan. And we knew we were going to strike it rich. We had began our journey in the winter. And before we left, Chief O'Ray had some bad news for us. He said that if we were to leave in the wintertime, we were facing certain death. Don't get me wrong, I really had thought about what that chief told me, and it made me super nervous. But I didn't want to miss my chance to become rich just because of severe weather. I had explained to my men that I believed that we would be okay in this journey. I mean, isn't the saying, get rich or die trying? So, we headed out on our journey through the Rockies. The first couple days we were going, I thought it was pretty good. But then I saw our food was getting pretty dang short. But I thought it was whatever. It wouldn't hurt us that bad if we just went a couple days hungry, you know what I'm saying? We would get through it, right? And then food absolutely ran out. Oh man, I knew I had messed up. And honestly, I wish I would never have came on this journey in the first place. With no food and traveling at the same time, man, we became so hungry. And honestly, I thought we hit rock bottom when we had to boil our moccasins and eat 'em. But no, things were going to get way worse from here. One night, I decided I was going to go to bed. That was the only thing that would make the pain stop from all this hunger and starvation. I dozed off, and then it felt like a second later I woke back up. Someone, a tall figure, was walking towards me with a hatchet, and he was going to kill me. When he got close enough, I figured out it was Bell. I had to retaliate. I killed him. Man, I killed Bell. I looked around my camp, and I saw every single one of my companions had been killed by Bell. Their flesh was torn off in some spots. I knew I had to make it out of these mountains, and I was going to try my hardest. Every day, I tried to go further and further, but my body was too weak. I was dying and starving to death. There was only one thing I could do to survive. I had to eat my companion's flesh. I had been doing this to survive until I got out of the mountains. When I finally escaped, I ran to the nearest town I could get to. I had explained to some townsfolk what had happened, and I wasn't lying one bit. Everything I said was full truth. But none of these people believed a word that came out of my mouth. They were just saying I was a liar. They called the feds on me. And guess what? They arrested me, locked me up. I had to go to trial at the courthouse, and the judge sentenced me to death. No parole. I had to escape prison, and so I did. I ran away to Wyoming and changed my name to John Schwartz. I lived with this man in his residence for 9 years. I have no idea how, but the po-po found me again, and they took me back, and I was sentenced to 40 years in prison. But I had parole though, so I only served 15 of those years that I had. I got out early. After all this happened, I moved to Denver, where everyone knew I was a murderer, a cannibal. I hated it. Man, I worked my tail off to get my name changed from murderer and cannibal because I hated it. I mean, it's really not that bad that I ate them because they're already dead, boy. And also, I killed Belle in self-defense. So, you know what? I'm really not a bad person. So, I died and I was buried in Littleton, Colorado. Just like regular men should be. Many years later in 1980, a great man tried to get my actions forgiven. I was super grateful for that, but it didn't really happen. They didn't forgive me. So, now do y'all see my reasons for this? I'm not a bad person as people view me to be, am I? And that's the story of Alfred Packer, the Colorado cannibal.